Hello and welcome to my video review. My name is Bryce Truman and I hope you enjoy this presentation. Today we are going to discuss a research article, Overview and Guidance on Agile Development in Large Organizations. The authors include Jordan Barlow, Justin Gibney, Mark Keith, David Wilson, Ryan Schutzler, Paul Lowry, and Anthony Vance. First off, we need to discuss two very important development methodologies. The first being Agile development, which is a method that uses iterative development, frequent consultation with the customer, small and frequent releases, and rigorously tested code. Versus plan-based, such as the waterfall method, where each step should be mostly completed before moving on to the next. Agile was created to overcome the weaknesses of plan-based methods. Because its more flexible nature, Agile development allows organizations and developers to adapt to dynamic conditions and ever-changing requirements. Critics of this methodology say that Agile development has a lack of focus on planning, too much focus on the coding, and a lack of needed documentation, which all lead to poor implementation of complex projects. This research can be broken down into 4 parts. First, the theoretical basis for outcomes of Agile methodologies. Second, the theory-based implications of Agile development in large organizations, a framework for choosing an Agile software development methodology, and lastly, provide recommendations. The research has 2 goals. First, to examine the effects of Agile development practices on larger organizations by reviewing and integrating scientific literature. And second, organize its theories and observations into guidelines for organizations that are considering Agile methodologies. To better understand the need for Agile methodologies, we first need to understand the organizational theory on interdependence. There are 3 types of interdependencies. First, pooled interdependencies. Second, sequential interdependencies. And lastly, reciprocal interdependencies. To better understand them, let's take a look at some diagrams. In pooled interdependence, you can see that all the inputs go into one output. A good example of this is insurance, where the organization is dependent on its paying customers. In sequential interdependence, you can see that there's an order to the inputs. It starts on the left with an input, goes through a sequence of actions, and results in an output. The waterfall method falls into this type of interdependence. Reciprocal interdependence is a little less straightforward. In this scenario, both the input and output are dependent on each other. For example, a portion of project A needs the output of project B, but project B relies on project A. Most of software development falls under reciprocal interdependencies, and in order for teams to effectively adjust throughout a project and handle these interdependencies, there needs to be a strong social network for the team members to communicate and share information easily. Creating these social networks can be difficult in large organizations because of the number of individuals that need to be involved. With each additional participant comes an increasing number of communication channels. Most of the articles that we read about on the success of Agile development typically happen in smaller and lower risk projects. However, this methodology becomes more problematic when implemented into larger organizations. Typically, the larger the organization, the more interdependencies, which leads to a higher risk of implementing an Agile method. As we can imagine, it would be much easier to manage interdependencies for a team of 5 instead of a team of 50. As a result, Agile development in its strictest form is likely not a good choice for mature organizations. This research presents a framework to help companies choose the right methodology. This framework is split into 2 categories, high volatility and low volatility. Volatility refers to the instability associated with turnover in the project team, which is often a result of changes in the economy. Within a high volatility company, you can see that a project that is reciprocal in nature and has a small team size should use an Agile method. For a low volatility company that has a project that is sequential in nature and a large project team, they should adopt a plan-driven method. Barlow offers 4 recommendations to those wanting to implement Agile methodologies. First is careful change management. Second, project managers need to recognize the interdependencies that exist. Third, take advantage of pilot tests to see which methodology fits best. And fourth, limit the use of Agile methods to specific projects that seem fitting. In conclusion, every methodology has its time and place for use. Rarely do we have projects that are perfect for strictly plan-based methods or strictly agile methods, but somewhere in between, like a hybrid methodology, is a great solution for many organizations. As you can see in the diagram, a hybrid methodology is essentially just the combination of two different methods that is fitted to the project and team. This approach allows teams to take advantage of some benefits of both methods without being limited by needing to act in a certain way. I hope you enjoyed my video and learned a little bit more about potential software development practices and their effects on larger organizations.